initial recollection is in the early 70s, 71, 72, we had been drawing together as a group called Depraved Deity. And that was pretty much my brother John Martens, Lucky or Bill Hartwig, and myself in combinations. We were drawing comics, drawing just single panel art for the Takeover magazine. We always had kind of an absurdist bent to it. Never was real political. One of the things I remember best is that the Takeover people were talking about a drought of drugs in town. And we were busy smoking hash, and so we didn't think there was any shortage, so we did a big cartoon called Dope is Back in Town, which appeared on the cover of Takeover. Depraved Deity then naturally extended into a group. The term performance art wasn't being used at the time, but the idea was that we weren't talented enough to be musicians, and we weren't formal enough to be doing plays or cabaret, but it was sort of something in the middle. We did a performance at State Street at a place called Good Karma, and that was my brother Tom Martens, Doc Dutch, Buzz, Patrick Vandervelden, and Lucky Bill Hartwig again. We did a performance down at Good Karma, and that kind of grew into a few other things. There was an Equinox Festival down on State Street, and one of the things I did down there, this was a little bit later, but it really kind of figures into the whole history of it, and that is, did a performance piece of the mythical creatures of the Wisconsin Northwood, or the character of a gentleman named Reuben Dobner from the Northwoods. Then the next things, we did little odds and ends. There were a few poetry reviews at Gallery 853, but where this really started was when Don Hilgenberg, who was working under the name Macho Tongue in those days, Don did a performance piece called Death of Dada, Birth of Mama. The idea was that the strictures of Dada were cast loose, and the new, more benevolent MAMA, or the Madison Area Movement of the Arts, which would be headquartered at Gallery 853, was ushered in. So it was a whole new thing. The next things were the Peter and Louis Berryman's Corn Belt Reviews. They reluctantly agreed to let us perform on the Corn Belt Review. People didn't used to like to follow us because we generally descended into chaos. I remember one piece we did, we rewrote Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison Blues called the Kampala Blues because Idi Amin was in the news back then, and we did a little piece on Idi Amin. And then in the middle of it, at the time I was working as a maintenance man on student apartments, and I had a beeper. So if something went wrong, the beeper went off and I had to go fix it. I had somebody stage a call into the beeper in the middle of the performance that their bathroom pipes had exploded, and I had to go. One of the more interesting things is Madison Poet Laureate John Tushin came in the middle of all of this and started yelling, "Stink, stink." I remember it was kind of a tense situation because John felt that we weren't being serious enough about poetry and performance as it was done in the early 70s. And I said, "John, would you care to come up on stage and bum out for us?" It could have been an incendiary point, but it actually made us better friends after that because I think John understood exactly what we were trying to do there. We did another of other performances. Again, my timeline is really fuzzy, but one was when my brother John Martens built a geodesic dome out of clear plastic in front of the Madison Art Center. We set up a little living room in there, and we did some of our Depraved Deity poetry and music.